Welcome to the Top Advisor Marketing Podcast brought to you by ProudMouth. I'm your host, Matt Halloran. Being your own loud is not new to marketing, but the mindset, strategies, and resources to help you get there are evolving faster than this industry is keeping up. It is time to find a new perspective on what works why and how to move your business forward. Listen as I interview guests to help you learn from them how to be your own loud. Let's get to the show. Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Matt Halloran. This is a two-part series that we're doing with our friends at Redtail. I had Brian on the last episode, and we got David Melhorn today. He's the Vice President of Business Development at Redtail Technology. Now, he's the one that you see almost as much as Brian, but like I've seen David at every conference that I go to. He's always there. He's always fun to talk to and chat with. And you guys have some big news. So before we get to that, how are you doing, man?
Doing great. It's exciting to be able to join you. Like you said, see you at all these conferences. Always see you with your headphones on, doing the podcast, and so it's fun to be a part of it. It's awesome what you've built, and it's fun to be a part of it. Thanks, man.
Now, just quick digression. You just got back from hopefully a very battery recharging vacation. How was it, man?
Absolutely. Got to go to Kauai. Was just celebrated my wife and I 10-year anniversary, so we've got a 2, a 4, and a 6-year-old. So anybody that has little kids will know that a break away from them is huge. So fortunate enough, my parents could take the kids, and we were able to get out there and spend a lot of time on the beach and in the water and just enjoying a little bit of relaxation. Nice. So yeah, definitely feeling refreshed. Going straight into a conference is like jumping back into the deep end, but it's fun to be back, but definitely was a good break.
Well, you got your battery recharged because there's some big things happening at Redtail. So where do we begin?
Yeah, so we're excited about with coming together with Orion. It's exciting to see some of the opportunities that are coming, and this is probably the biggest one thus far. We've done some integration work, which is exciting. We've got a lot more integration planned, but we're getting ready to launch what's going to be called Redtail Campaigns. So a lot of people don't realize, but right when COVID hit, Orion actually launched something called Orion Marketer, and it was a marketing platform that they built for advisors that was really integrated into their financial planning tools, and really integrated kind of that idea of prospecting and planning together. And of course, COVID launching something, literally it launched in March of 2020. So it was about as poor timing as possible. Yeah. And so it's kind of sat there. We've got some great customers that are using that. But when Redtail was acquired by Orion, it really kind of reevaluated things to where maybe the right place for marketing and the better tie-in for marketing is obviously the CRM, where your hub of data is, where you do your prospecting, and really was a better place to bridge that gap between the prospecting to planning part of the process. And so we're excited. We've partnered actually with Snappy Kraken, so taking a little bit different approach to this launch of Redtail Campaigns, and we're excited to work with Snappy Kraken. They're such a great company to work with. Robert and everyone over there is just amazing to work with, and they've got such great content that's I think engaging and great to look at and stands out, I think, when you look at it. And so we're excited to partner with them, but also be able to bring in a lot of things that Orion and Redtail bring to the table. And so whether it be incorporating a lot of the financial planning language and materials that we have, as well as also incorporating Dr. Daniel Crasby and the behavioral finance side of things, and being able to incorporate that into the marketing materials that we're putting together. So users of Redtail Campaigns will get not only everything that's great about Snappy Kraken, but also this custom content that we're working to put together and add to the platform as well.
Okay, now that's groundbreaking news. As I was talking to Brian about this idea that one of the neat things about Redtail is you guys have always been very interested in playing nice in the sandbox with other technology companies or other solution providers. How did this, do you mind giving us a little bit of backstory? I mean, Kraken's been around for a while now, and you guys have been around for a while now. What was the epiphany? I mean, what was it about what they offer specifically that you guys are like, yep, they're our solution?
Well, I think we were to some degree faced with the same dilemma that a lot of advisors face or broker dealers face, where it's, do you continue to try to do everything in-house, and that can get expensive, that can get complicated, or do you work with people that are really good at what they do? And so I think this gave us an opportunity to kind of do both. We were able to partner with one of the best providers in the industry in Snappy Kraken. That's I think you're just seeing them explode right now, and just doing so many different things, and it's exciting to watch them from an outsider's perspective. But now to be able to work with them and be able to use the content that they're creating and the things that they're doing on the marketing side, but be also be able to add the things that I think we bring to the table, and Orion specifically brings to the table, again, with the behavioral finance things, with the planning aspect, and really tying together marketing and planning and CRM in a way that I don't think has been approached to any degree at this point. And so to really tighten up the way that all of those three things connect is really exciting for us, and we're excited to be able to offer it to our users and to the market.
All right, I want to break down those three categories because I think that's the first time I've actually heard you break them down like that. So let's talk about, how are you guys integrating planning and having that really be in that kind of all-in-one solution, or at least an easy way to access that stuff?
Yeah, so obviously one of the other acquisitions Orion's made recently was Advisor a few years back, and that was a great planning platform already, and something that we were able to integrate into the overall Orion platform. And so being able to incorporate into what Orion was already doing on the portfolio management side and everything else, but we also had an integration with Advisor, and so there's that connection that was already there from a financial planning side of thing. And we work with a lot of other great financial planning tools in the industry, but so we already had that connection from a Redtail to financial planning side of things, and we're looking to obviously continue to expand that. But it's all about taking those contacts. We talk about the prospect, plan, invest, achieve sort of process of things, and so really focusing in on that prospect to plan, and the idea that you have these relationships that you make, these people that you meet, these clients and these opportunities that come your way. And the idea of how do you transition them from a prospect to allowing yourself to present a plan and to be able to present your value add and your value prop to a client, and taking away any friction that might be there between those two processes is something that we're focused on.
Well, I love it. So the friction between those two processes, that's awesome, right? I mean, that's making that as seamless as possible, so it seems like a continuous experience instead of, well, here's this and here's this and here's this. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Dr. Daniel Crosby too, right? So that Orion relationship now gave you access to like this unbelievable human being. I mean, this guy is not only brilliant, obviously, but he's also one of the nicest people. And it's interesting, that blend of brilliance and being so freaking approachable, layering his brilliance on top of the planning and now this prospecting tool with Kraken. What do you guys think in there? I mean, it sounds like a beautiful symphony of madness, but I'd like you to break, like, how are those things going to work together? I think our listeners would really like to know that.
Yeah, like you said, it's just amazing, some of the content and the thought leadership that Dr. Daniel Crosby's bringing to the industry. And I think when you think about the prospecting process, the idea of speaking with people about something that a lot of people have varying degrees of comfort with when it comes to investments, when you need a financial planner, how do I know I'm getting a good one, things like that. And I think a lot of being able to service someone well is being able to understand what motivates them, and behavior comes, obviously at the center of that. And so I think the things that he's doing to help advisors better understand people, as well as there's tools that we're working to create to provide advisors to be able to understand their prospects and what motivates them. So when you're speaking to a prospect and you're creating a plan and you're pitching them on things, when you have a better understanding of what motivates them and what's at the core of who they are, it just positions you so much better to speak into what's going to be relevant to them. And so it's not only about making you better at converting people from prospects to clients, but also creating a better experience once they're a client, because that's something that I feel like has been at the core of who we are at Redtail and what motivates us as a CRM. We tell people all the time, like, we're not just invested in providing a good technology that has all the bells and whistles that you need from a CRM perspective. We as a company have always been really invested in helping advisors better serve their clients, to build relationships that matter, and to make an impact in their clients' lives. And so they're already doing that, because obviously financial planning and what advisors do is core to people's future and retirement. But what we can do to make them better at that, and be able to allow them to connect better and stay in touch better and things like that is exciting for us.
Yeah. I think something that a lot of people don't know about Snappy Kraken is it's not just an amazing prospecting tool, but it's also a great client education tool, because they have so much content. Partnering that with Dr. Crosby's stuff, partnering that with all of the other stuff that you guys have is amazing. I'm going to switch gears for a second, because I've never asked you this while we've been hanging out. So what are you hearing is from an advisor perspective, what is their biggest pain point right now? I mean, you talk to, that's all you do, dude.
Yeah.
You talk to advisors all the time. So what are you hearing in our community right now that seems to be the most pressing?
Man, that's a good question. I think obviously from being at Redtail and being in the CRM perspective, I think a lot of it is advisors. I always find it interesting. Advisors always view themselves as unique, and I always say, like, everybody views themselves as a unicorn, right? Everybody views themselves as, I'm different than everybody else. That being said, I still feel like I get it time and time again. Advisors want to know what other advisors are doing. Yep. And so while they all view themselves as unique, they also don't want to recreate the wheel. They want to be able to do things that are tried and true. And so I think what we see a lot is, on the CRM side, workflows is such a big topic. People always want to use workflows. It's that buzzword that they feel like is going to be the golden key or the big solution for them. And so a lot of advisors are wanting to be able to repurpose what other people have done from a workflow perspective. And I think for us, where our focus has been in addressing that has been trying to communicate kind of the why you do certain things, but also be able to allow advisors to see what's been successful for other advisors and allow them to customize it in their own way. And so I think that's the challenge right now is everybody, there's so much competition, right? And there's so many different ways that people can get financial advice. People are hearing about things on Twitter. There's all this noise when it comes to that. And so I think it's important for advisors to find a way to kind of, cut through that and be able to connect with their clients. And so I think we're trying to do that, whether it be the things that we're doing with Snappy, whether it be the education and the best practices that we try to provide from our CRM perspective. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big challenge. And I think the other thing would be on the technology side is there's so much tech now. How do we figure out what pieces we need? Yeah. And then, what does integration actually mean? Integration is thrown around so much. What is actually, something that's meaningful about the connections that we make between the tools? And so, obviously coming back to Orion and Redtail, that's what excites me about being part of this. There's so much that Orion does to serve advisors, mm-hmm. and obviously there's everything that Redtail does, and now adding Redtail campaigns and Snappy to that mix. Just the way that we're going to be able to service from end to end is going to just create a really compelling and easy experience for advisors to use their tech.
Yeah. One of our core messages here at ProudMouth is helping you rise above the noise. Mm. And there is so much noise. And in fact, Kirk, my partner, and I were talking and found out that there are these things called finfluencers, right? Okay. And they're generally on TikTok. Totally unlicensed, unregulated people who are providing advice. And there was a study that came out that said that some of them are making over $750,000 a year by giving bad advice. And it's bad advice. Dude, they've actually talked about how terrible the advice is. Rising above the noise is so important. How are you guys going to help communicate to your clients' clients, so that's your B2B for C, right? So that for C in a different way enough so they'll listen. And this is a tough question, dude. You can tell me, I'm not going to answer this, but that to me is rising above the noise is the most important thing that any advisor can do right now. How are you guys going to provide that solution?
Yeah, and I think this is where it comes to this industry needing to continue to progress and evolve and get away from what's comfortable. And like you said, there's financial advice being given on TikTok, and I don't think there's many advisors that are thinking about giving financial advice on TikTok. And obviously there's regulations and there's things for us to overcome in that regard, but recognizing and being aware that like your clients may be receiving advice and being influenced from things that are not on your radar, and how do you combat that? I think it's being purposeful in the way that you communicate and the avenues that you use to communicate. And we're excited about the way that that Snappy Kraken opens up that. They have a lot of things when it comes to not just your traditional email marketing, but incorporating things into your social strategy and things like that are, I think, huge. And creating that consistent message, things that tie back to things that you're emailing, things that they're seeing you post on social media. I think while there's limits, obviously, to what you're legally allowed to do from a compliance standpoint on social, I think being afraid of it and not embracing it is a mistake for people. And I think that comes back to even, I know you and Brian talked a little bit about Redtail Speak, and just seeing the resistance traditionally that people have had to texting, but that's a way that we communicate. And so I think when you embrace kind of maybe the unknown, the places that may be scary, and recognize that you don't have to be perfect at it right out the gate. I think too many advisors want to have an answer to every single question about, okay, if I start using social media for this, or if I start texting here, I have to have it all dialed in, or it's, you can learn on the fly. I mean, you've been podcasting for 400 plus episodes. I'm sure there's a lot of things that you do different now than what you did in the beginning. And so I think understanding that like it can be a work in progress and that we're always learning, I think is important. But I think to leave that opportunity on the table and not embrace, those new ways to connect with clients, I think is a mistake.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things that I think is vitally important, and you just hit it nail on the head, is it's not about you as the advisor. So, and I want to distill that just a smidge. So we hear from advisors all the time, Matt, I'm not on social media. Okay, I don't care if you are, man. Your clients are, right? I don't care if you're not on TikTok, and most advisors can't actually right now be on TikTok because of archiving and blah, blah, blah. But your clients are, man. So, you all who are listening to this need to get out of your own way. It doesn't matter if you are doing it. Your company needs to, and you need to have a presence, because here's the deal. They are hearing things from other people, and it's generally not good advice, right? So whether they're fans of Twitter, or they're listening to a podcast, or their friends of friends are listening to podcast, guess what? They're talking about this at the dinner table right now with their friends when they go out to dinner, right? Everybody's talking about inflation. They're talking about the stock market. They're talking about the economy. What you have to be able to proactively get. Now, with the Speak product and this Redtail, integration thing, I believe that you guys are going to actually lead the industry to make sure that people are going to be able to proactively communicate. And I'm not using that word lightly. Proactively communicate and get in front of your clients. It's going to help with client retention. And it's also going to be way easier, because I want everybody to know it's easier to refer to a piece of content like, oh my God, I just got this great white paper from my financial advisor, or I just read this unbelievable thing from this guy named Dr. Daniel Crosby. You guys should read that. It's easier to do that because that's what people refer to now. They don't refer to call my guy. Yeah. And as Brian and I were talking about too, and you were talking about, I don't pick up the phone, man. You call me, I'm not picking up the phone. All right. My favorite question. What should I have asked you that I didn't?
Yeah, I think obviously we've been talking a lot about Redtail campaigns, and so I think obviously I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about what the plan is as far as getting access to it. And so we're excited that it's launching, and right now we're going to be in kind of like what we're calling an early access phase. Good. So we're excited to kind of offer a lower price point initially for people that want to get on board, with the understanding that like this is just the beginning. So we're excited about what we have to launch right now and what we're doing with Snappy Kraken, but it's just the tip of the iceberg from that standpoint, in that there's so many more ways that we're going to integrate, so much more exciting content that we're going to be bringing into the platform that is really going to be unique to what this offering is and what this partnership is between Redtail, Orion, and Snappy Kraken. And so that is something that you can reach out to the Redtail sales team to learn more about. They can provide you information, documentation, and get you all the information on pricing and everything like that. But we'll be doing demos starting this week, and excited to check out some webinars, as Brian mentioned, our Ascent conference in February will be a great opportunity for us to really showcase everything that we've done, because there's going to be things that we do between now and that conference as well that we're going to be excited about too.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for continuously innovating. It's absolutely freaking awesome. What a great organization to be partnering with. Snappy Kraken is just, they've honestly fundamentally changed the way that us marketers have looked at financial service marketing, and being led by Robert and his team, it's pretty incredible. And you guys have done the same thing on the CRM standpoint and what you guys have built from a technology standpoint. So, David, I want to thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, if you have not subscribed, do. But most importantly, we'll make sure that we have links in the show notes so that if you want to sign up for one of those webinars, or if you want to, contact the sales team at Redtail to find out a little bit more about maybe being one of these early adopters, that would be fantastic. Because those of you who are even thinking about using Snappy Kraken in any way, shape, or form, and if you are a Redtail customer, you need to get in this early adopter thingy, because I have a strong feeling that David and his team are going to be like, wow, there's a lot of people who want to do this. So good for you and congratulations. All right, everybody, we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon. Thanks for listening to the Top Advisor Marketing Podcast, brought to you by ProudMouth. If you want to know more about how you can be your own loud, visit us at ProudMouth.com and sign up for the PodRocket Academy. Through courses and office hours led by professional podcast producers and digital marketers, you will learn everything you need to know to become the trusted subject matter expert you were meant to be.